Thank you for checking out another episode of State of My Art Podcast. If this is your first time here, please be sure to hit subscribe, click like, leave a comment, share. All that stuff really helps me grow this podcast, and you being here helps too. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the guests who have helped me start this thing and joined me in this journey of discussing art and all that fun stuff. This episode of State of My Art Podcast is brought to you by the folks at Vocalese. Vocalese is an awesome company that makes musician wellness products. This is their famous throat spray, all natural ingredients like ginger, echinacea, honey, sprayed in the back of your throat, and immediately feel free and relaxed. And if you get a lot of sore throats, this stuff is great because it really relaxes those muscles that tense up and swell up. And they also make these throat drops. They come in 3 different flavors, also very delicious. And they also make Manuka honey sticks, which I love. Vocalese is a really great company. They've helped me a lot, and I really believe in their products because they have saved my voice many times. So if you want to try Vocalese, you can get 15% off by using this link right here or in the description below. Just click that link and you will get 15% off your order. On this episode of State of My Art Podcast, I chat with Case Tanner via FaceTime. He's in Sante Fe, New Mexico. He is an incredible bass player, and he plays in a, what would you call it, jazz folk rock band called the Bus Tapes. They're in Sante Fe, New Mexico. Incredible band. I met Case about 7 years ago touring through Albuquerque, and I was with Alex Baker, and Sebastian Ritchie was playing drums for me at the time. And we stopped at a gas station just outside of Albuquerque, and Case Tanner came up to our van and was like, "You guys look like you're in a band." So he invited us to Sante Fe, gave me his card. We called him. He was like, "Yeah, come up. I'll find you a last-minute show. You guys can crash at my place." And ever since then, I've been hitting up Case Tanner for shows. He's booked me in multiple venues in Sante Fe, and I always have a place to crash thanks to him. He's a super kind, generous friend. We always hang out at NAMM in January whenever I go, and it's always a blast. He's got an incredible collection of odd vintage instruments and music toys, all different things. His entire house is a museum of instruments. So we get to check out a little bit of that. If you're listening on an audio streaming platform, I suggest checking it out on YouTube because this one you'll get to see some of Case's cool toys. My conversation with Case Tanner happened on August 23rd, 2020. Okay. Welcome to the State of My Art Podcast, Case Tanner. Thank you for joining me on my first FaceTime Zoom interview. So how's it going?
It's all right. How's things for you? You having fun?
Yeah, they're different. I'm trying to get a grasp on this whole YouTube podcast game, and it's just new territory for me. I'm so used to doing what I'm comfortable doing, playing music, and now I'm just like having conversations with people, which I'm used to doing, but like recording it is kind of weird still for me, and I think for the people that I'm recording to, because they're like, "What is this for?" Or I don't know.
Yeah. I listened to the first one this morning, and I got to tell you, it had a nice flow to it.
Sweet.
It came across as natural.
Cool.
You know, like a conversation between two people that know each other.
Cool.
And and I think that as you get people that have different things to offer, everybody can learn from it. I thought that some of the stuff that was interesting that Steve was saying about mental health awareness and that kind of stuff, I was like, wow, this is definitely something that's not in my wheelhouse.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
I think I'm similar to you in that way that, I understand driving to the gig, playing it, going to where I go next, making sure that, we get our money, this, that, and the other, that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think he did such a good job being a guest too, because I was like, man, I could just let this guy talk, and he's saying so many things that I think people will find value in. And sometimes I get stuck just not even sure where to go next with the conversation. Before I do it, I'm like, oh, I know all these things that I want to talk about with this person. Like, they're going to be great. And then, like anything, even just getting on stage sometimes between songs, I'm like, shit, I forget what I wanted to say.
And that's the deal with, anything, whether the show must go on.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you break a string, you go, oh, I broke a string. Look, here's how you change a string, whatever it is, however you cover it.
Totally. And like the strings breaking for me is the camera's dying, or there's a 30-minute limit, which I got to keep in mind, and reset the record button. And it's just part of figuring it out. Start before you're ready, as they say.
Thinking on your feet. Those are all things that we do as performers. And I think that we ideally get enough experience where there's nothing that we haven't gone through before.
That's true.
I promise you the next time I play, it won't be my worst gig ever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I've already had that. That's long gone.
Well, you guys have
it's my best gig.
You guys have been playing with masks. How's that been?
This is true. One was for a video shoot where we were in a place that we had performed in the past, and it was closed off to the public. Now, when I say closed off to the public, I mean they had like some partition or something, like maybe something that said wet floor that didn't let people in. And people came in. And we're like sitting down, and then management came in and was like, oh, I'm sorry, this is a promotional thing. You're going to have to go. So that was weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, an audience, it's only, weird people, but whatever. And the other gig we did was at a place that we had played. We've been playing there since like 2010. And I've been playing there since 2004. So like, I know the space real well. And it was just one of those deals where it's like, oh, now we're playing it and we're doing it with a mask.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I feel like you guys are just naturally really good at adapting at this kind of stuff. Like, you'll be one of the first bands to just get back out gigging once there is like 20 capacity shows, and you'll make it work. You guys, the bus tapes, for those who don't know, are so used to just gigging wherever and people pleasers. You guys will just make any crowd feel it and get into it, even if everybody has to wear masks, including you guys.
And that was some of the weird stuff, is that when we were playing at that gig, there was the outdoor gig, and everybody was in masks, and the audience was all in masks. And people were like, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is, but hey, good to see you. And you just roll with it,
Yeah.
I think that, that's the name of the game.
How has it been in Santa Fe? Are you guys kind of opening back up, or is it like back in lockdown over there?
So there was an initial period where there was indoor dining and things were opening up, sort of. And then there was a spike in numbers, and everything went back to curbside pickup, to-go orders only. And I mean, we're scheduled loosely for some sort of a soft opening that's going to involve, the governor was in a press conference talking about various things, that the numbers are looking good and we should expect to see something. But during the last press conference, she didn't take anything away, but she didn't give us anything either.
Yeah.
And you just have to have faith in whatever.
Right.
And to think that they have, you know, your better interests in mind. I mean, like, you know, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
do I wish it was different? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, that's kind of everybody's viewpoint of it right now, I think, is like,
it's like, you know, if you can make sense of it, let me know.
Yeah.
You know, I know that when we had talked initially about it, and I think we spoke in April or May, and you kind of told me a little bit about your experience from going from stateside California to where you are now, and like how you went along that way and what you saw as you went, as it progressed. And I had done a trip out to the East Coast and then flew back. And I was like, you know, the whole way there, listening to the radio, listening to, you know, everybody talk about it, and just, you know, you're by yourself. You're like, I don't know what the hell this means, you know? And I got to Connecticut and things were normal and like everything seemed right. Went to the airport, everything seemed normal, flew back. Everything was normal for about a week. We did, I think, 2 shows, and then I did one out of town thing on that Sunday, the 15th of March. And that was right at the same time that everything just ceased.
Yeah.
Like all of our gigs, everything just gone. And then as early as June, people were like, hey, we have you scheduled for the 12th. Are you guys coming? And we were like, that's illegal.
Yeah. At the time, people with June, July bookings were like, oh, well, hopefully this blows over by then. Like, are we still on? And I can't imagine, you know, what it was like for you guys, because you guys play like 5 shows a week sometimes, and this is a big part of your livelihood.
Well, in the summer we would normally.
Yeah.
But, you know, we do, you know, weekends for sure.
Right.
You know, we used to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's just, you know, when the economy is good and there's people out and people are responsive, then that's, you know, supply and demand.
Yeah. Have you been substituting it for anything
hanging
else?
Out.
Just hanging out? Hanging out with the dogs?
Hanging out, making music, hanging out with my dogs, making music. But I've been, you know, watching a ton of documentaries, making music, doing weird stuff.
You're a documentary guy too. Me too. A lot of people are like, you haven't seen this movie, you haven't seen that movie. And I'm like, I love every movie I see. I'm like, wow, movies are amazing. But I tend to get pulled into documentaries. If I'm scrolling by myself flicking through things, I want to see a band documentary. I want to see a weird documentary, conspiracies, the war. I'm into all that.
Whatever it is, yeah. I mean, you know, I could watch instructional videos on, you know, archaic MIDI gear if I had to, and find joy in that.
Yeah, we should segue to some of your gear. Do you have any of your favorite toys on hand? Any of your top basses and their significance? Because your house is full of insanely expensive equipment that I'm always really entertained by. From? What is that? Drum machine?
Drum machine. It's the Akai Tomcat. It has 5-pin MIDI in and out and USB. It's one of those cusp of the era things. It's got a neat thing going on that's pretty cool.
It's like one of the first, you know, MIDI things.
It's probably one of the last 5-pin MIDI things before they switched over to USB.
Oh, okay. Is that like a CD DJ mixer thing?
It doesn't actually take CDs, although this is a CD-ROM on the top. It's like a production toolkit. All the tricks that you hear producers do, it has. It sounds like Madonna and Paula Abdul and Teddy Riley and that kind of stuff. Guy, it sounds like that.
Sweet.
It's got a real interesting sound. and it's got, 700 things. You can beat match, you can set the tempo, you can change the keys, you can affect it all. I'm trying to think if I have anything cool nearby.
Sorry, I should have prepared you for this.
This is a recent acquisition.
Nice.
It's something similar to everything else I have.
Right. Very vintage.
Yeah, it's like a between 37 and 57K acoustic guitar. All these guitars were made in a furniture shop in Chicago, and they were branded different names: Airline, Echo, Silvertone, K, Harmony. They're all the same guitar. And I have a stack of those.
Where do you find all this stuff? Like Reverb, eBay?
Yeah. Craigslist, another one.
Really?
Sometimes Facebook Marketplace. I have some basses, but nothing wonderful. Ah, yes. Hold, please.
Yep. We can edit
Cool.
the gaps.
Oh, there will be no need. So, Mike, this is maybe something you haven't seen.
All right.
I hope you're ready.
Wow.
So it's a plastic guitar.
That's plastic.
Made in the 60s. Yeah.
What?
And it's a children's toy.
Even the neck is plastic?
That the neck is plastic. The neck is actually part of the body. It's a single piece of plastic, and it's like a poured mold that then they pinstriped and added gold on. The frets are part of the neck and everything. What happened was we were at a guitar exhibit they had a guitar museum. Here's another one in Sunburst. And
What?
I saw one that was a full-size one, and I was like, I need to have one of those. And this is the one that I got. No, that's the one I got.
Wow.
And they're plastic guitars, and they came with an amp, and you can plug it in, and it's got everything you need. And they're for children, but
They don't
they're modeled
plug
after a
in.
Macaferri.
Do they have a pickup?
They do.
What?
They do, and there's a little amplifier with it, but it's a vibrational pickup, like a turntable needle.
Okay. What do you think that thing weighs?
Nothing. The amp that came with it runs on like 10D batteries or like 5D batteries.
Tiger
and it has
amp.
one single RCA input. And it's made by a company called Emenee, Emenee, and they're really hard to find. And one that I got came with the amp and the original case and the paperwork. I'm trying to think if I have anything else that's really bizarro. It's varying degrees of odd stuff. And, the weirder, the better.
I feel like your house is just going to turn into another Sante Fe museum, but it's just going to be like weird vintage guitars and equipment no one has ever seen.
Yes. So this one is interesting. This is a Manhattan, and it's a lap steel.
Yeah.
And when I got it, my original plan was I only wanted this pickup. I wanted to put this pickup into a Telecaster because I thought that would be real neat because it has the volume and the tone on it. And then I was talked out of it. It's still in tune, and it's basically a 2x4.
Yeah.
That they made, it's one 8x4 and one 2x4 that was made into a thing. And what's really neat is that they weren't able to do the quilting on the back. I don't know if you can see that, but it has it.
Yeah.
So the way they achieve that, it's a really neat technique. Do you want to know how it's done?
Paint.
Well, yes, you take an oval roller and you go da-dun, 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 and that's what gives it that effect. Yeah, this thing is great.
Me and Nick
Sounds fantastic.
Nick from Mainsail and I have an inside joke for any lap steels. Anytime we see one on TV, we're like,
What is that?
That dude needs to lower his action. That action
For
is
real.
way too high on that guitar. just to get everyone riled up. It's not a guitar.
That's not very nice. It's the way it plays. And then, of course, I have, like 25 basses somewhere. Nothing cool, though. The usual stuff.
Yeah, your bass collection is ridiculous. Like, I feel like your most expensive bass is worth more than all of my equipment combined. And I have a lot of damn equipment.
Like in the tens of thousands, yeah. I mean,
that's insane. Someone said it best, though. I heard this a couple times over my boring quarantine YouTube plunges. When people ask, like, why do you have all this expensive gear, or why do you have this boutique gear? Like, can't you just make great sounding music with whatever? Like, it doesn't really matter what gear you have. But at the end of the day, it's like, the analogy, the comparison was, it's like a chef having a $10,000 knife or a $2,000 knife or whatever ridiculous knife might cost. It's not so much that they need it to make that art, that dish, but it may have inspired that dish. It may have inspired them to dress it that certain way and to make it that masterpiece that it is, because they just love having those tools at their hands, right? And
and if we equate them to tools, what I always say is if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Fair. Yeah. Even a screw.
Right. I mean, that's the reality is that, oh yeah, I'm a plumber, but all I have is a hammer. Well, you ain't much of a plumber then.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what my best bass is, the one that I'm playing, whatever it is.
Yeah, like, I find it interesting that you're not always gravitating to your 70s Fender P bass. You sometimes pick up the Mulan, or, I mean, you
60s one.
Yeah, your just like the most ridiculous. That's the jazz.
This looks like my jazz, right?
Yeah.
It's not. It's a no-name. I got it on eBay, $73. I don't know where it came from, what make it is. I still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I lowered the action, Sounds great, I was plugging it in on the track today.
Did you change the neck or anything?
Nope. I raised the neck pickup just a little bit, added some foam to it to give it a little height.
Yeah.
And I put one knob on it, and that was it. Oh, and I put a strap button because it didn't have one. And that's it.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing the amount of things that you found almost just scrapyard picking too, and just changing a neck on it or changing a pickup on it, and all of a sudden it's one of your go-tos for $100.
Yeah, this is a fine instrument. I could play it on the gig if there was one.
Have you guys done any, well, I saw you did a few live streams, but have you done any that are just like, hey, this is me and my wife Heather, and we're going to stream for you guys?
No, and I'm not sure why. You know,
You're not sure why you haven't, or you're not sure why you would?
oh,
Yeah, I feel that.
the answer is yes. I mean, don't you think? I mean,
yeah, I mean, personally, I'm like, if I don't have something that I'm really trying to promote, why am I going to stream a bunch of my old songs that, you know, had their time? Which could be the wrong attitude, or even, you know, why should I go out there and just play a bunch of covers and put myself through the hassle of setting up the stream and like getting all the gadgets to stream from my phone at good quality and all that, when I feel like, for whatever reason, right now, people, you know, back to what we were initially talking on this podcast, is I feel like people want to hear more of this kind of story stuff anyway. And like, whatever their niche is, if their niche is gear, then they're going to like this one. Or if their niche is mental health, then they're going to love the Steve Mitchell one. Whereas when they hear someone just like get on and start playing their art, it almost becomes like, if they're not there in the room, they don't get that vibe, maybe, is the problem.
yeah. There's so many good performers that I've been so disappointed with in their live streams and that kind of stuff, where I feel like it doesn't check the right boxes for me.
Yeah. And they could be killing it.
You know,
like perfect pitch, you know, in their best prime shape musically. But there's something about being in the same room. My favorite band, Angels and Airwaves, said it best, that scientifically, we all lock into the same wavelength in our minds when we come together for a live show, and we're in the same room together. Speaking of,
when I was in LA and I had the headphones on at West Tone and you were playing,
yeah,
I was like, this is what's up.
Well, thanks.
Because it was closer to being how it should be heard, not amongst the chaos.
Yeah, because you tune everyone out, and then you're in their world, and that's an interesting way to do it. For everyone who doesn't know, the West Tone booth is you put these in-ears on, and there's about 10 little booths around a stage where you get your own pair of in-ears to wear and watch the performer perform live, or band perform live. And you hear this perfect mix with all of the outside noise of NAMM, which is a big music convention, muted. But you're still like not in the natural show setting. Like, you're not hearing the PA as everybody else hears it, but you're in your own little world, experiencing live music together.
I think where the appeal is that ideally the person is experiencing your little world, your mix.
Yeah.
What you want them to hear. It's like them having your product.
Right.
Like, this is what I wanted you to hear.
Right.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that would be,
ideally that's what we all want to do.
Like, I wonder if that could be a potential solution, now that I think about it, of like, all right, if we're going to do this, because right now the big thing is drive-in concerts, right? So maybe the drive-in concert feed or feel is you show up with your own headphones, and everybody gets like a little box wired to them so that it's not like a shitty radio station. Because that's the thing that I was like, wait, how are they going to hear this? Or are they just blasting a PA and everyone rolls down their car windows? But if that's the case,
I think each time it's different.
yeah. I don't know.
So, you know, there were people that would release their album, release it in all the formats, release it in all the digital media platforms.
Yeah.
And then if you were like a super fan, you could get a flash drive with the stems.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what album. One of like the local indie rock bands that we used to play with did that.
Did that?
Yeah. Oh man, that bugs me. I can't remember their name.
The one that I saw that did it that was really impressive was Lil Tybee.
Yeah.
They came out with stems, and I was like, crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like music school kids, and it shows, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, that's cool. You could solo the stuff and see what you're hearing.
Which I mean, Dr. Dre ain't gonna give you that.
Well, that's that, and that's, I guess, somewhat related, but on a release level, right? So maybe you're saying if there's not going to be any shows, maybe bands' releases will be like, here's a live release, or here's just a stemmed out release, and here's us giving you more without coming to your home, without coming to your city.
Do you remember Beck released the sheet music?
I didn't know
as
that.
an album?
I could see that though. Oh, that was just the album? It's just sheet music?
That was it. And then people were playing it. That was the only way you could hear it, is the people would play it. Like the day it came out, like people were already doing it.
Of course. That's genius. I mean, that's how they used to do it in the 1600s, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I can't wait to get the sheet music to something to play it. That would be cool.
And then the symphonies would play it, and it was like that was the only way you could hear Bach's masterpieces.
Yeah, I mean, which is crazy, but, you know, I mean, something to think about. I mean, you know, I think that I think people will be back to not caring about music just like they were last year, you know, in 6 months or a year.
It's funny how the more advancements we get in music technology and the way that we can release and hear and enjoy music, as that advances and gets more and more convenient, it seems like people care less and less about music. Because when we talk about the 1600s and whenever it was, the Baroque era even, people were like, that was the biggest ticket in town, to just go hear music. Or if you could play an instrument, it was like, wow, that's really amazing. Like, your talent is never underappreciated. But now everyone plays a damn instrument. It's like, so what? Don't send me your damn SoundCloud link. I don't have 3 minutes to see what you've created.
I do it.
Yeah, totally. Me too. I'm like, check out this new demo, everyone.
Yeah.
It's unfinished, but isn't that special for you? Nah. I don't have time. Tell me when it's finished.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
like,
check it out. Put a video to it. If your song doesn't have a music video, I don't care. If you're not doing something extremely unique in that music video, I don't care about your art.
It's a hard place. I mean, the thing is that there's so much of it. There's so many people doing so many different things, and it's kind of a lot to take in.
Totally.
You know, I mean, why on earth there's mumble rap, I would never know. Is that something that you want to hear?
No, I was talking about that with my second guest, who's a really, really talented, like, East Coast old school style underground rapper, Eminem style. And I'm like, dude, when I hear the stuff you're putting out and I see it only gets 800 views, like, it gives me a sense of, okay, maybe I'm not doing everything wrong, but it also gives me a sense of, where are we with our music taste as a society right now? Because the stuff that is blowing up, I mean, I've very rarely experienced it, especially now in my own little bubble down here. But when I like get a TikTok from my girlfriend or something, I'm just like, what is that song and why is it always in these TikToks?
Yeah, it's the same pitch corrected, like 30-second note hi-hat thing with somebody just like, yeah, it's just like, what do you do? Like, doesn't even sound human.
It seems like the weirder we can create art to be, like, the more interesting it seems to this next generation of people, because they don't want to just hear a good sounding song anymore. I mean, good is subjective, but like it's almost just like, look, this weird noise is being created into music, and we're so bored with music that's the new cool. That is the new interesting.
I had a friend over before quarantine, and he was looking at some guitar, and he hit something, and I said, "That's a B." And he goes,
"You always do this with me. What note is this?" Bong.
And, yeah. F. So, and he's like, "You freak," and I'm like, "Not really. I mean, like, if you don't know by now, it's like, I try to make it make sense where it's like, it's only 12 words. You only have 12 words to work your entire language on.
Well, basically 11. The 12th is the same as the first.
And you start hearing it, and you're like, okay, yeah, I got it. I start to understand. This is just another language.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know, man. There's something about just finding that note floating in the air without any context of its relation to other notes, where I can't just guess that that's a B. Like, I need to hear that. I need to hear what F sharp is and be told this is F sharp. And then I could tell you, okay, then that's a B. Like, I need some point of reference. I can't go for 5 minutes not hearing anything and then guess this note. Unless I have a song stuck in my head and then somebody plays that note, then I can reference it. But that was an Adam Neely video.
Matches, yeah.
Where it's like, no one really has perfect pitch, but if you can sing Star Wars in your head and then hear a note that is in the key of Star Wars, then you should be able to find that note and claim perfect pitch. And that seems like a reasonable argument.
It's good. It's really good relative. It's really good relative. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I can pull notes out of the sky.
You must be using that Adam Neely method or whatever. Yeah.
No, I mean, just, you learn to like remember it. It's just muscle memory, but for your ears.
I believe it. I believe you've been fooling around with music for so long that you could just pick a note out of the air and call it. But I can't wrap my head around it being possible.
Sometimes I'm totally wrong.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. It's like,
sometimes I'm like, that's a G, and I go, that's an E? No. Like, really? When?
Dude.
It depends on,
But flushing through the octaves, if I hear a low C0, even in a key of C, I don't know that I can call it a C. It's so low. So that's a factor too. Right.
Yeah. Well, that A, B, and C on the piano down on the end are not for us.
Yeah. No, you can't even tune them with a tuner. Like, you have to do it by ear.
It's tempered, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And what's been going on with you? Have you been recording?
Yeah, I've been writing a lot of new stuff. Not a lot. Not as much as I should. But trying to keep up with it, trying to work the muscle, and doing a lot of this podcast stuff. It's crazy how much work it is. Like, once the recording, it's the fun part. We're catching up. We're having a cool conversation. We're nerding out. But when you get down to like editing it, you're like, okay, cool. Like I have a podcast. Interesting. Nice. I'm really doing it. That's the saying I go by. But then you get to the stage where you have to post the shit. It's like when you book a tour and you have to post all the dates, except way harder. Like, I always hated posting show dates because I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to post and I have to get it out sooner than later. I'm going to try and do 10 tonight. And then even, it doesn't take all that long, but as you're doing it, you're like, this sucks. I want someone else to do this for me. And like, posting this stuff to YouTube, and I mean, a part of it is just because I'm running on like 2012 software and I can't upgrade. Otherwise, I have to upgrade my Pro Tools and all the plugs with my Pro Tools. So I'm just like lazy and cheap on that end. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. But when it comes to my Chrome and Firefox and all these workarounds I have to do, it is broken. I do need to fix it. So that's been a pain in the ass. But other than that, just like trying to find reason to get exercise. Trying to keep up with like vocal lessons. I've been doing Zoom vocal lessons down here. And like taking from my vocal coach lessons. And I flew back to San Diego a couple weeks ago. They let me fly. I got denied the first time. That was pretty crazy. I got denied at the border because I had a one-way flight because I didn't know when I was coming back. And I had all these pedals with me because we were going to record in LA with Mainsail. So I brought my bass case because the bass that I use down there doesn't have a case. It's their bass. And so they denied me. That was July 6th. And they gave me a slip that was like, it's not like you're banned or anything, but you need to prove all of this stuff the next time you come back. Because here I used to have a work permit. I can't have a work permit now, even though I like applied and was approved, paid a shitload of money for it for this year. They thought I was coming into their country to work, and all work permits are suspended probably until 2021. So I booked a round trip and got all of the stuff they needed, bank statements, all of the shit that they want to prove that I'm a Canadian resident and that I'm not going down there to work. So I booked like a 3-week vacation and went down there and recorded and saw my girl.
And are you happy with the results?
So far, so good. We're like getting it ready to go to mixing. And it was a cool studio, Palomino Studios in LA, in Boyle Heights. It was weird though in LA. It was like no traffic, a ghost town. You have to wear a mask everywhere you go. And we got to LA in like 50 minutes from San Diego, which is normally like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's 2.5.
Yeah. Like we're North County, like Oceanside. Yeah. But yeah, it was like we just flew through Orange County and like holy shit, we're an hour early. So that, I mean, it was good. It was good for that to commute to LA to record. But I don't know. It's nice to be back. I've been playing a lot of golf. I got up at 5 this morning to play golf. And
you're 2 hours later than I am?
Yeah, East Coast time.
Does that sound right?
Yep. Just figuring it out. Started tracking my own stuff too. Got like 4 songs in and then did a bunch more drums that I've still got to like get on my computer, edit. But it's nice. It's nice to like have my system down now. It's a lot of work, DIY grinding, but at least I don't have to be a booking agent anymore. That was the worst for me. That was the thing I hated the most about touring and like posting the shows was a pain in the ass, only because I wanted to get on my Gmail and follow up with all of the venues that I really want to get in and all of the bands that I really want on my show. Like, it was really rewarding when it would work out, and it started to work out more often than it wouldn't. But I was like, I'm not even writing songs. I'm being a booking agent. Like, something's got to change. So it's kind of not the biggest pain in the ass for me that this pandemic started when it did, because I wasn't touring anyway. Mainsail was recording anyway.
So I want to talk about how you and I met.
See, you're a better host than me. Yeah. That's
I remember it as a gas station bathroom break.
Yeah.
But not for me, for my passenger.
Okay, so you were driving a cab for a client down to Albuquerque?
No, not even. I went to Hereford, Texas.
Oh.
And I think I was coming back. And it was probably 2013. And it was the month.
It was like November 2013.
I played it. No, before then, because I did a gig. It was for Balloon Fiesta, which is in October.
Okay.
So it would have been late. It would have been September of 2013.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I drove down to Hereford, Texas, and I took my friend with me because it was just a job that I had to go down there and come back.
Yeah.
I was basically taking, like, I think it was film to a theater or legal paperwork to an office in Texas. So I went down there, dropped it off, came back, and my buddy's like, yo, I got to go to the bathroom. Pull over. And I was like, all right. So I pulled over at this place, and it was like some weird gas station with like outdoor pumps. And I saw your van, and I was like, that's a band van with a band trailer. And I just walked over and I said, hey, does that sound accurate to you?
Yeah, you were basically like, you guys are a band, where are you playing? And we were like, oh, we just played at, what jam spot used to be called?
In Albuquerque?
Yeah.
No, because you were coming to Albuquerque.
Oh, we were just driving through?
I think you were on your way to Albuquerque. And I said, well, whatever.
We
were coming up this way.
We drove straight from like 9 hours away. I remember that. And because we were barely going to make the show. We were with Alex Baker, but he wasn't on the show. We were on like this 8-band bill that like was all hardcore bands. And I just like begged to get Rosedale on. And it was me and Sebastian at the time. And I don't know if it was before that show or after. It was probably after, because we were in such a rush to get to that show. And then we were like, after that, it was like 3 days off. So we just did that thing where we sit at the gas station.
I had given you my card, and I said, call me if you guys are bored. Maybe I can get you a show.
Yeah, you were like,
I'm in Sante Fe.
If you want to come to Santa Fe, I could probably get you a show. And we were like, well, that would be great if you could find a last minute show, but also we're not really sure like where we're sleeping because we have a bunch of days off. And you're like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. And we're like, this guy seems cool. He seems like a musician. And let's look it up. Santa Fe is only like an hour away. So we did it, and you ended up finding us 2 shows for Alex Baker and Rosedale. 2 acoustic shows, which definitely covered our gas to go there and back. And and we were like, this dude's legit. Like, glad we waited at that gas station.
But when you guys were playing the one show, I couldn't go to either one because Amanda Palmer invited me to her show.
Oh yeah, that's right. But you dropped into the low and slow one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afterwards. And I was just like, yeah, this Amanda chick, she seems cool. And, you know, I'm telling my friends that are out of town and Heather, and she's like, Amanda Palmer. And I was like, yeah, she's a nice girl, you know. She invited me to her show. Yeah. Her phone number's on the fridge. She's like, Amanda Palmer, like everybody's hero, like the DIY queen. I was like, I had no idea. Seems like a nice chick. Puts on a good show.
Well, you were already booking at a few venues at the time, right? Or was it just Cowgirl?
I hadn't started yet.
Oh, really?
It was the next year that I started doing that.
Okay.
And that's when I was able to book you and get you to come through at least once a year to come see me.
Yeah, dude. That's huge. I mean, when I was touring steadily,
is the way to do it.
It was probably like 2 or 3 times a year. I was coming through, crashing at the instrument museum. And it's funny because the first like 2 times I had not even met your wife, Heather. And then the third time I think I came through, it was like you were at work and Heather was like, hey, I'm Heather. And like, Case has told me all about you guys and let me get you coffee and food. I was like, this place keeps getting better. Sante Fe. But yeah.
I know. I mean, normally you and I, we sit and have some food from somewhere.
Yeah. Showing me all the good Mexican spots.
Yep. So are you in quarantine?
I just finished 5 days ago.
How nice.
Yeah.
And have you gone out and seen Canada after quarantine?
Yeah, like I went golfing twice already, and
awesome.
I went to Costco and helped my mom out. And I mean, I was already doing that before I went back to California when I was just stuck here doing those things.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's getting a little more lenient on that stuff. Whether because the cases are going down or because people are like, all right, enough's enough. I don't know. But it seems like the further away from the city I go to, the more people are like, yeah, no, we don't subscribe to that stuff. And then the more downtown I go, even in San Diego, the more closer I'd go to LA, the more it was like, put your mask on if you're even going to look at me. Not literally, but I got yelled at for like walking into a Starbucks to give the keys to our drummer. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Sarah, you can't come in without a mask. I'm like, sorry. Like, I get it. I just, I would rather just not even worry about it and selfishly do my own thing like I have been as an artist. You know, that's kind of what we do, is just like
through your whole life.
Yeah, submerge ourselves in our interests.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody figures out their own way to adjust accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think that some people are really affected by it. Other people maybe not as much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my hope for everybody is that we're able to find a way to, you know, be happy and, you know, not lose our minds.
Yeah. I mean, that's another reason I wanted to start this thing too, is to like just kind of keep everybody level-headed on being happy with themselves and not really worrying about everything else going on around them. And I feel like when we hang out, we're always on that same page too, where it's like, let's just do our own thing. And, you know, I got a gig tonight, you got a gig tomorrow. Let's just do what friends do. We don't need to worry about the rest of the world. Whereas I find that a lot of my younger friends now, oddly enough, are like, you know, you have to subscribe to this thing that I'm really focused on. And have you heard the latest news about the president? Have you heard this? Have you heard that? I'm like, have you heard my demo yet, damn it? Have you heard the new...
listen to those tracks I sent you?
Have you heard the drums that I recorded for your song?
Nice, yeah. And how long ago did you record with Steve? Like, what's your release schedule looking like?
I have no idea. He just moved studios. Steve Risen, Drive Studios. So he's right downtown now. So that was like, I helped him move the other day, and we went to like the garbage dump and then downtown Toronto, right in the thick of it, because he was originally like north of Toronto. So he's been really occupied with that, which is great that we got the tracking out of the way, but I'm not like in a rush to have him mix it, even though I can't wait to hear it. But I don't have like a deadline. I just had a deadline for when I wanted to have the tracking done, because I knew I wouldn't do it if I didn't have that deadline, or I wouldn't find it worth all the money that I spent tracking it. But I'm glad I wanted to get that out of the way before I had to go back to San Diego. But I don't know. I still don't even know what I'm going to call it. Like, I don't.
Right. Do you have plans to go there again? San Diego?
I don't know. I don't know if the next time I go there is going to be by van or by plane, because I worry that if I do try and book a flight there again, it's going to be an interesting conversation with the border guards, with customs. So I'm not like, unless there's like a really good reason for me to get down there, then I'll book a round trip. But I don't see me needing to do that until probably like December, in which case it might be more like a trip there and then a trip to my parents' place in Florida, and then back if I'm going to be flying around, because they like to go there for Christmas. But I don't know. Dude, it's so hard for me to be worried about catching this COVID, because I feel like when I'm on tour with a bunch of dudes and they're all getting sick, they're all getting the flu, I'm always fine. And I'm always making sure I get enough sleep. And I'm always like, I mean, for me to get sick, it takes a lot of virus. And I don't know if my immune system's just, I get a lot of sun. I don't know. I tend to be right when I have a feeling that something's going to go wrong, especially. And I have very high doubts that it's going to go wrong for me. Whether it's going to go wrong for other people, I have no idea. But anytime...
What about me?
I feel like you'll be fine.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I was worried.
But I could be...
But if you think I'm going to be okay...
No. I'm not saying...
No, don't even say it.
I'm not saying I'm right about what's going to happen to everybody else. But...
what? Just me.
I have no idea. I'm not your doctor. I have no records of your history.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Are we going to get you a cowgirl in 2021?
That would be great. I mean, I've thought about that too. If I could just drive across the country and play 5 acoustic shows to get back to San Diego, just like the old days, that's enough for me. Especially when they're just acoustic. I have all my needs for that. I have a bunch of gear that I left in San Diego in my trailer, but I have all my acoustic stuff. So if Cowgirl is doing...
I have gear if you need to borrow it.
Dude, I feel like...
We just need to get the state to open it up.
Yeah, and I feel like that would be one of the first places to open up, where it's going to be like, all right, if there's food and all the tables are separated, then you can have live music, Cowgirl, and you're going to be getting a lot of emails from a lot of bands and artists. It's going to be a booking, I don't know what the word would be, bull rush.
It'll be tricky. Yeah, it'll be tricky. You know, and there are places that are having shows here currently.
Just outdoors?
Patio shows, you know, weekend gigs and stuff.
Yeah, I could see Sante Fe.
Just outdoor stuff, so I don't know.
I feel like Sante Fe shows aren't going to change much. Like even once things get back, like Sante Fe has always kind of been a socially distanced live music artsy city.
Sort of, yeah. I see what you mean. NAMM 2021 is already canceled.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's
in January.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I don't know. We can usually have breakfast together or something.
Right. That's what I look forward to most at NAMM is going to the Homewood Suites with Case Tanner.
So yeah, I mean, I hope that, you know, things work out. I hope that things, you know, I hope that you can go to San Diego. I hope that, you know, things get normal and we can travel freely and not have to worry. And, you know, most of all, I just hope that people are safe and taking good care of themselves and each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that you are like me in that you always try to be the person you want to meet.
That's a good way to put it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have a lot of great one-liners.
I mean, isn't that who you want to meet?
Yeah, totally. Be the person that you would want to meet.
Right? I mean, that's how I try to live.
That's what you are. You are the person that I would want to meet. I feel like all of my friends who meet you feel the same way too. They're all like, dude, that Case guy is really interesting. So I'm glad that I can get you on the podcast. Throw you in front of some more eyes and ears.
Yeah. You know, just always be cool. You know, I mean, like, what? There's no choice not to.
And what's your response?
I try not to melt down.
What has been your response to Case? How do I become a good musician?
This should really, really. I mean, if anyone can internalize this, it'll make a difference in their happiness. And the key to success in the music industry is learning to love to play what people want to hear.
Learning to love to play what people want to hear.
Yep.
Well put.
Don't you think?
Yep. Well put.
People just want more of the same. That's it.
And the thing is, just like everybody else, if you hear something enough times, maybe not anything, but most things, if you hear it enough times, that repetition will bring joy. It will bring acceptance. Like if you hear the new Katy Perry song the first time, you might think, she didn't get one this time, but you hear it 5 more times, you hear it 10 more times, and you're like, damn, Katy Perry's always putting out good stuff, or whoever.
That new Taylor Swift is dope.
The first time I heard it, I was like, I still don't think it comes close to Speak Now. And then I heard it a couple more times, and there was a couple songs where I was like, oh, that's growing on me. I know this chorus already. And so I think that really speaks for your point. Learn to love what people want to hear, because
she made the record that everybody wished Fiona Apple had made.
I don't even know who that is.
Well, hopefully your listeners do.
I'm sure they
They'll
do.
Understand.
Yeah.
They'll go, God, he's so right. What a dick move. She made the record that Fiona Apple wishes she had.
I feel like that's the case for a lot of artists. Is like some huge top 40 artist will step into the playing field of like an artist who's just doing something that happens to be trendy at the time, and then they take it over.
John Mayer.
Yeah, totally.
You know, he's the sensitive songwriter, dude. You know, you're like,
yeah. Or in the 50s and 60s, if the 50s and 60s, it was like the white pretty boy taking over what the black culture music was. You know, they started rock and roll, and these white dudes come along and literally play the melody and lyrics and notes and blow it up, right? It's kind of like that same thing for the influencer generation. If an influencer can take the same ideas and expose them to their millions of followers, then they're going to do it better, right? Maybe we'll look back in history and be like, oh, Fiona Apple or whatever her name is was way better than Taylor Swift. Maybe. No? Okay. I don't know her.
Not on this release.
Okay.
You're a star. I'm always around. Who's next on your podcast?
I don't know. Now that I'm doing the Zoom calls, could be anyone. I don't plan this shit either. That's something I got to work on. Plan it out.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do the work. I mean, it's definitely, you know, it's a good experience for everybody. And since social media is currency, I suggest everybody check out your stuff, of course.
Yeah, and I'll throw.
And do I have anything?
Yeah. What do you want to plug? I never know what to plug with Case Tanner.
So it could be youtube.com/the bus tapes. And you have my Instagram, you know, it's Case Tanner _official.
Case Tanner official. I was hoping Heather would jump in on this. Be my first female guest.
Oh, Heather. I'm going to have to use her government name. Heather.
Hello.
Check my heart. Did you see the new puppy, Mike?
No.
This is our favorite TV show in quarantine. Is this little guy? His name is Buddy.
Buddy.
He's learning how to not be bad.
He's a terrible dog. We were going to make a hat out of him.
We still might turn him into a hat.
He's a sweet guy.
How old is he?
You should have Heather on the podcast. She can tell you lots of interesting things about what it's like to be in school in quarantine.
That would be interesting.
I'm not in school anymore, though.
That's right. You graduated.
Nice.
By the
Congrats.
time this podcast comes out, I'll take in a bar exam, too. Thanks.
Things are wild.
But, you know, we'll do what we can to stay busy.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see you guys.
But Buddy's almost 9 months old.
Wow.
It's all right. I think we'll keep it.
He's a terrible dog. He's really cute.
But yeah, definitely miss gigging, man. That's the biggest change of all this. There's no gigs.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Even playing to an empty room for a promo video was just strange. You have to learn all these new skills, like how to smile with a mask on and how do you engage with people. And this is all that they get of you, really, and your music. It's just different.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, as an artist in your own head, it's really tough to bring it. But I watched a couple of them, and it sounded great. It felt like you guys were owning it. And the big thing right now is, like, the people who are going to get ahead in this time are the people who can adapt and kill it with the new normal and be flexible with all these regulations. And I was thinking of you guys. I was like the bus tapes, like they're making it work. And I'm not surprised at all that you guys are just like still doing your thing. And I mean, how many odd gigs have we played where it's like, all right, this is going to be one for the books, but You know, let's make it work. Let's make the best of it. And that comes from the 10,000 hours. That comes from being a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. When the PA died and I had to play through a bass amp, sing through a bass amp, one gig.
Yeah.
What's some other weird stuff that's gone wrong? All kinds of weird stuff gone wrong. The usual stuff. Break a string, lose power, people fall into the mic stand.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've had that happen to you?
Yeah, I've had like drunk guys want to sing into the mic and have to like.
We had a kid. You pull him off.
Yeah, just like, you know, still maintain a cool, friendly relationship with the crowd and this asshole, but you know, not show your true emotion.
We had a kid get up on the break and start playing the drum kit. Like,
yeah.
Some random kid just was like, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to play
He
drum.
sounded killer.
He sounded great.
He had fucking pocket. He was on mushrooms or something. He was way high, but he sounded dope.
In their head, they think, oh, they're going to think I'm the coolest. Like, they're going to want me to join their band. These people are going to love what I'm about to do.
We just heard, we were outside, we heard the drums like, duh, 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 and I was like, that's happened to a couple times. Good. All right, we're going to go to bed. You're a star.
Cool. Thank you guys for doing this.
It's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time.
You too.
All right.
Well, that does it. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out this podcast. Be sure to check out some of the other episodes with some of my other artistic, talented friends. And if you'd like to be on the podcast, feel free to email me, stateofmyart@gmail.com. It's been a really interesting journey here starting this podcast. I'm still kind of working out the kinks. Sorry, my head was kind of cut off in a lot of that episode. But I got this cool new little mirror thing that lets me see my screen because I don't have a flip screen. So I'm working out the kinks. They're only going to get better. So please click subscribe, share this with some friends. Be sure to check out some of the older ones. And please like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. Thank you.